So it appears that the Russian offensive for the summer has already begun. I'll show you the evidence. You tell me what you think. It is Friday, April 18th, 2025. It is Good Friday. 1,530 Russians off the battlefield. This is fairly high when you look at it, 1,530 compared to days before this month. And it brings us up to 1,300 something, where it was in 12 something before. And if we get over 1,354, which was the fourth highest month, I think that we'll see enough evidence. Not enough evidence there so far, but you'll see it in a moment. 8 tanks off the battlefield, 40 armored fighting vehicles, 88 artillery systems. Look at this. This is absolutely nuts. 312 vehicles and fuel tanks. So there's not a lot of tanks and armor here, but 312 vehicles and fuel tanks. So they just don't seem to have the armor to do it. Okay, at any rate, this is from the defense of Ukraine, their official site. 312 Russian vehicles were destroyed in one day. It's the highest daily loss. Second army in the world. Assaults on motorbikes. Yep, that's how they're doing it. Okay, now I've never seen this before. A viewer tipped me off to it. His name is Ragnar Gudmundsson. He's a political scientist and economist obsessed with data and on a mission to turn it into actionable information. So engagements have been rising for the last 3 days. Okay, yeah, I can see that. Second highest casualties of April so far. Record total land-based special equipment losses. Strikes on both sides, well below average, like the Shaheds and that sort of thing. Okay, so he has this dashboard, and even I'm like, whoa, this is overwhelming. So I kind of, so you see, like, most recent day, here's 1530, and most recent versus 7-day average is up 22%. So, like, there's a lot in here. I reached out to him and I asked him, hey, look, can I interview you and have you kind of walk us through your dashboard so that viewers can understand? He's out on Twitter and Blue Sky and a number of other places so that you can get access to understanding what's going on here, because there's a lot in his dashboard. So look for that shortly. Okay. On this Good Friday, Karen and I join Christians around the world, remembering what our Lord Jesus Christ did for us on the cross. He was crushed for our iniquities. Punishment brought on that brought us peace was on him, and by his wounds we are healed. Isaiah 53:5. Now, I start with this because, and if you're saying, well, why are you talking about this? Good Friday, Christ, whatever. So Zelensky. This is how Russia began this Good Friday, right? Zelensky's Jewish, and yet Good Friday is supposed to be a very important holiday in the Christian calendar. Russia claims to be very Christian, and they're not really acting it so much. Okay. Good Friday with ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, Shaheds maiming our people and cities. A missile strike on Kharkiv, right on the city. Dozens of residential buildings were damaged, as well as enterprise and vehicles. Around 70 people were injured, including 5 children. The youngest is just 2 years old. Sumy, Russia attacked drones. One of the largest targets was a regular bakery. Attacking a bakery. I'm sure there were NATO officers there as well. I mean, according to the Russians, they'll make that kind of nonsense up. There were also Russian strikes on Dnipro, Kyiv, Mykolaiv, and Donetsk regions. Our rescuers, medics, and other emergency and specialized services are all responding and helping. Okay, so that's what happened on Good Friday. So let's just walk through this. Euromaidan Press: Russia launched an attack on residential area in Kharkiv and injuring 98 people, killing 1. This is part of what's inside these things. So missiles were loaded with these kinds of fragments to cause as many casualties as possible. And this was missile strike on Kharkiv. That's what we're looking at here with this little block of metal designed to just spread out and kill and maim as much as possible. An apartment building in Kupiansk in Kharkiv region. Nice. On the night of Good Friday, Russians attacked a strategic facility in Sumy. It was a bakery where Easter cakes were being prepared. Right. Okay, on Good Friday, Russia hit an Easter bread factory in Sumy, destroyed the factory, burned thousands of traditional Easter breads prepared for the Easter celebration. This comes after Russia's missile strike on Palm Sunday in Sumy last week. 32 killed and 120 wounded at that point. Here's Kherson, human safari nonstop. It's as if Russia was, as if today was not enough. 2 road service workers aged 36 and 44 were killed by a Russian drone. This vehicle was removing an asphalt layer to repair the road. I saw them at work last week. This in addition to 25 casualties a day. So they're just attacking a road service worker repaving the road. Okay, Kherson, 200 Russian drone attacks in a region daily. Now, we're not talking about Shahed drones. We're talking about little FPV with maybe a grenade on or some kind of bomb on it. In the last 24 hours, 4 killed, 25 injured, including a child, 4 aerial bombs, 44 settlements shelled, 9 high-rises, 10 private houses, 1 ambulance, civilian cars damaged. Today, 2 injured already. That's the kind of thing that keeps going on. Residential area of the city of Kherson, guided aerial bombs hitting major high-rises, like just residential buildings. Okay, that's the kind of thing that keeps going on. Commercial area destroyed by Russian bombs on Pokrovsk. And the Christian Boris, by the way, is the guy behind St. Javelin, the clothing line. By the way, if you look in, there's a link below. What I'm wearing right now, this is a St. Javelin shirt, right? If you look at the link below, there's a link to St. Javelin. If you use that link, okay, so they already give money to, like not money necessarily, they do give funds, but clothing, money, whatever, to supply things for the Ukrainian army. If you use that link below, like I would get a cut, except I don't get a cut. That cut goes to tourniquets and bandages and medical supplies. That's what I asked them to earmark that for when I do these kind of commercials. So this is a commercial for St. Javelin right now in the middle of this. And if you use that link, it'll do double the good that it would otherwise do. Russia is the only side not interested in peace. The Ukrainians made serious efforts and concessions to achieve peace, while the Russians did the complete opposite. I think you have evidence there of them doing the complete opposite, stepping up cluster bombing of residential apartments. Okay, let's look at the battlefield. I told you I'd give you evidence of what's going on. So the high number is usually correlated. 54 assaults in Pokrovsk, that's the heaviest area. And again, correlate that with the heaviest day or second heaviest day in April, and you can see that kind of thing. 54 assaults in Pokrovsk. Let's look at what else was going on, though. It's reported that today, in the Pokrovsk direction, up to 150 Russian assault motorcycles participated in a new assault. According to the Ukrainian military, Ukraine did not lose a single position. Okay. Zelensky's talking about it. Today, the Russians were advancing in the Pokrovsk direction. Ukraine prepared for this offense, completely destroyed the entire group. This 115 units of equipment, 200 killed, 30 wounded. Yesterday, they were advancing in the Zaporizhzhia direction and lost 80 people, 117 wounded, 40 units of equipment. So I think the intensity has started to the point where I can say with a straight face, I think the Russian offensive has begun. Now, think about this. They have maybe a 3 to 6 month offensive coming, right? It is mid-April to mid-May, June, July, August, September, October. That mid-October is about as far as they can go, counting on the weather. Right after that, it gets very sketchy. So this makes sense of why it's starting now. Failed Russian assaults. The warriors from the 72nd Mechanized Brigade destroyed 2 tanks, 4 IFVs, 2 other vehicles. 3rd Assault Brigade repelled the Russian mechanized attack on Kharkiv-Luhansk border. Russians used 2 IFVs, buggies, and infantry to break through. 1 IFV was destroyed right after deploying troops. 2nd hit by drones. Buggies were coming to assist. They were burned too. Okay, Signum Battalion of the 53rd Mechanized Brigade just dropped a $4 million invoice on Russian hardware near Lyman. Okay. I like the way that they said it because that is what's happened. Like it's going to cost them $4 million or $4 million worth of goods for this self-propelled gun, the cars, the UAZ vehicles, the Ural trucks, the mobile comms tower, and so you can see the drone coming in for that, and there it is, and you can see where it's heading. Guy ran out smartly. Number of people ran out. Okay, so see the idea. Okay, Ukraine has recovered the bodies of 909 more fallen soldiers. This marks the 77th repatriation effort since the full-scale invasion began. Sweet surprise, combat drones drop Easter treats to Ukrainian defenders. So here we are, Ukrainian soldiers defending Kharkiv frontline received special Easter delivery, traditional holiday cakes flown in by drones typically used for combat missions. So this initiative, launched by the Kharkiv Brigade in partnership with establishments from Kyiv and Kharkiv and Dnipro, used vampire drones to deliver food, water, and Easter cakes to troops at their positions. Quite a morale booster. But these vampire drones, that's what we're going to be doing our next fundraiser for. We had some technical details to work out. We talked about this about a month ago while Greg was still actually over in Ukraine. And so this will be coming shortly, but we just have to there's some technical things that we have to work out to make sure that it's getting where it's going, when it's supposed to go, and that everything is under the rubric of proper authorities and that sort of thing. So these vampire drones are pretty awesome. You see them delivering food and water and ammunition, particularly to the front lines, right? Bandages, things along those lines, things that they need because they can't get people back and forth because of all the other drone cover or the artillery or whatever else. So we'll talk more about that in the future. China is sending its soldiers to fight in Ukraine to prepare for an invasion of Taiwan, according to The Hill magazine. The Hill is a pretty respectable publication. So, yeah, there are Chinese soldiers in Ukraine learning lessons, particularly about drone warfare. This is Representative Salud Karbajal. I forgive me if I slaughter that. I slaughter names in English as well. He is a Democrat from California saying we cannot give up on the people of Ukraine. To stop now would be a gift to Putin and all our foreign adversaries. I met with the Coalition for Ukraine and reaffirmed my support for Ukraine in its struggle against the Russian invasion. And then here you have Representative Brian Fitzpatrick, Republican from Pennsylvania. The fight for Ukraine is a fight for the values that define us: freedom, democracy, the rule of law. Okay. Last couple things here is Andrew Perpetua posted this. Bubik. This is the kind of drone here. Now, it's fascinating, but this tiny little kind of drone, something this size, can blow up something that is a huge truck or disable a tank, it's just amazing. Okay, and then these are land drones. The evacuation system features aerial drones for reconnaissance, and then you have a transporter and a sapper drone with a robotic arm and a turret, as you see here, and this is the transport drone. So they're using these drones mechanized to get wounded off the battlefield, keeping humans out of harm's way in the process. Last story I'll leave you with is this. I always expected vileness from those blank Russians. Alexander and his wife are looking for their black and white cat. His name is Mischief. After the Russians' missile attack on Kharkiv, she's missing and disappeared after the explosion. A white flash and an explosion and everything flew out. I survived. But the cat was 6 years old. She disappeared. Either the blast wave swept her away or she jumped out. It's weird, but him looking for his cat, my heart goes out to him. I know there are humans that are whatever as well, but so my cat got out of the house. My cat's name is Reagan, by the way, not surprisingly, right? And we spent hours looking for the cat, who felt like a significant loss. It's like one injury, insult on top of an injury. So, but again, this is how the Russians roll on Good Friday, 2025. Thank you, my friends, for your time. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the subscribes, and the coffees. And thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.